Hi there folks. So this is going to be a little lesson on tuning your ukulele. If you've just got a ukulele and it's brand new out of the box, or you just brought it home, it's probably out of tune. It probably sounds this good or worse. It's rubbish, right? Can't be doing with that. Any stringed instrument has to be tuned up, and a ukulele is no exception. I do find in general ukuleles, when they're new, can take a little bit of time to get settled in. That's because these nylon strings, they stretch about a little bit, so they need a bit of care. Usually your first week of having a ukulele, if you've just got a brand new one, is lots of tuning. Okay, you get it in tune, and perhaps the first time you tune it, by the time you got to the last string, the first one you tune has gone out again. Okay, it can be that bad. So I'm going to show you how to get them in tune, some things you can use to tune them, and what you need to do to keep it in tune. Okay, and it's going to be a lot of tuning your first few days. If you bought one from a shop and they've got it all nice and tuned up, set up, ready to go, then that's fab. Your quid's in on that. But for those of you that haven't, let's take a look. This is a really old ukulele. This is the first one I got many years ago. I upgraded a few years ago, so this has been sat in the corner of my room in its case, and actually didn't sound quite as bad as that when I got it out, but I've detuned it, slackened off those strings, made them sound bad for our example here. Okay, so here's your brand new ukulele then. Well, imagine this is yours. First things first then, what should the strings be tuned to, and how are you going to get them in tune? Well, your four strings should be G, C, E and A. That's the notes you're going to tune them to. And unlike other string instruments where they go from low to high, this one's actually going to be high. This is going to be a high G, and then the C will be the lowest note, then it'll be the E, and then the A will be the highest note. And what can you use to get them in tune? Well, there's a couple of things you can use. Firstly, you could use something like this. This is here we go. This is a clip-on tuner. Okay, it's got a little clip on the back here, and that clips on to the headstock of the ukulele. So it clips on up here, and then you power it up. And there's a few different types of these, but they're all fairly similar. One of them should set you back, really, I'd say no more than £10. You might even find, if you go online, you can find a sort of bundle of goodies where you get a tuner, some plectrums, strap, case, all that kind of gubbins. Be careful if you're maybe going to one of the bigger kind of music superstores. I've heard of people paying silly money for these. They really shouldn't be that expensive. So these are a great option. I really like these because they're small, they pack into your case nice and easy, and they're pretty accurate as well. Very accurate, I'd say. They also come with a few different modes, so if, like me, you play other instruments, they can be quite handy to keep about. On that note, on the different modes, if you've got like this has got one button on, okay, but whoop, almost lost it. It's press and hold to turn it on, but if I tap that button on the front there, that will go through the different modes on there. So C is chromatic. I actually think that's the best mode, and that's the one I use all the time. G is guitar, B is bass, V is violin, UC is ukulele C tuning. That's what we're going to be tuning to, okay? Ukulele C tuning. And then you've got UD, which is ukulele D tuning, which is an older style tuning for the ukulele. Not as common now, but it still exists. You can still use it. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go for C, which is standard tuning for a uke nowadays. I'm going to flick that back to C. Like I said, I find that the most useful. The ukulele C tuning, it can only see the notes that we're after. So it can only see G, C, E, A. If you've gone too far away from one of those notes, then it can sometimes look at you like, what's that note? I don't know what that is. Whereas on C, on the chromatic mode, that can see every note. It can see all 12 of the musical notes, and it will tell me straight away which note I'm closest to. That there is telling me I'm kind of hovering around an F and an F sharp, which lets me know that I need to go up to find the G that I'm after. Okay, now you might struggle with this a little bit to start with. in knowing kind of which way to go. As a rule of thumb, I'd say if your string is kind of really floppy and loose, then you need to go up, okay? You need to tighten that string, and as you twist it, you should hear that note raising and going up. If the string is really tight and really high, if it's sounding like the pitch is kind of right up here, if it's really tight, it's probably a bit too high, okay? If you tune it up too high, that's when you can run into trouble of doing it too tight and it's snapping or pulling away down at the bridge here. So be careful with that. Go small measures at a time, and that's why I think that, as I said, the C is the best, because it'll let you know exactly where you are. As a reference point, I'll put in this video the in-tune strings. You'll be able to hear those, so if you think that you're maybe too high or too low, you can try and match it up using your ears as well. So this is great, the little clip-on tuner. One other one I'll mention, this one won't cost you a penny. If you've got a smartphone or a tablet, then there's an app for it, like everything else today. The one I've got on here is called Guitar Tuner, because I play guitar as well. But it's got inside it, if you get Guitar Tuner, for the top corner here where it says standard, I can click on that and it takes me into the menu. I can select ukulele, soprano in C. Now it doesn't matter if you've got a concert or a tenor ukulele, it's the in C part that we're interested in. That now has changed my display, if you can see that, to a headstock for a ukulele. Nice thing with this one is that it gives you this nice kind of visual display. It will line up with your headstock, so if you're not sure which one you should be turning, this will help you find the right one as well. And also, if I put the sound on my phone, when you get in tune, it gives you a nice little ding dong when you get to the in tune point. Now with this tuner, or with the clip-on tuner, the way they work is with a kind of needle display. So if I hold this one up to the camera, you might be able to see on there, perhaps it's quite a greasy screen. Hang on, let's give it a little white. Okay, no. Let's try again. Okay, so you can see on there in the middle, roughly, there's a little display on there. And what happens is you're aiming to get your note into the middle line, and as you hit the string, you'll get a line that goes back and forth. The aim of the game is to get it into the middle and get that resounding little ding. And with this one as well, it's the same. It's got a little needle display on, which you probably can't see very well, but it's a bit like the speedo in your car, okay? Or a bit like the scales, it's like old bathroom scales, okay? Except, unlike bathroom scales, where you don't want it to go in the middle, you kind of want it to go a little bit that way, a little bit lighter. This one, we do want to get slap bang in the middle, and usually a clip-on tuner will kind of go green when you hit that middle point and you're in tune. The Guitar Tuner one, the app on the phone, that kind of will light up and go green, and as I said, it gives you a little kind of sound as well to let you know that you've got there, which is really handy. So this at the moment is in a terrible state, and we're going to try and get it in tune. So I'm going to hit my first string here. This should be a G. This tuner is telling me that I'm too low, I'm kind of about an F. So I'm going to tighten this one up. And you can hear that raising. Now on the screen it says G, and I bring it up to that middle point, and you might be able to see as I play that now, it's starting to flash green, okay? It's starting to flirt with that green light in the middle, and that needle is hitting the middle point. Okay, so as reference, that's what your G should sound like, okay? If it sounds lower than that, it's no good. If it sounds really high, okay, if it sounds like it's up there, it's probably about to snap, okay? So loosen it off a bit. That's the G, that's what we're aiming for. Next one is the C. Again, this is now telling me I'm at a B, which is too low. If you think our musical alphabet goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, once you get to G, you go up to A, and it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G again, okay? And it keeps on going up and up and up. So B is lower than a C, especially when the string feels this loose. So I'm tightening this, and it's showing C on the screen now. Okay, and that's got my green light on C. So that's what your C should sound like. Okay, so there's your reference for C. Next one then, we want E. Again, that's telling me D, I'm too low, I'm tightening this one up, twisting that till it tells me E, get into the middle, there we go. And that's hitting that green light now. When I pluck the string, it's dropping back a touch. So just really small motions. That's pretty good, that's hitting the green light every time there now. So there's an E for you. That's what you're looking for. Last one then, this one down the bottom here, closest to the floor, should be an A. When I pluck this on here, that's saying F sharp. So I want to go up to G, through G sharp, to A, and there's A. So there's a reference for A. Okay, so once again, here's those reference notes. G, C, E, A. That's what the uke should sound like when those strings are in tune. Some people put the saying to that of, "My dog has fleas." I don't subscribe to that myself. I don't think that's actually really very useful, because depending on where you're from, your accent might not sound like "my dog has fleas." It doesn't work for me at all. I prefer to remember the names of the strings, G, C, E, A. So you might like to remember something like "good children eat apples." That might help you remember those strings, G, C, E, A. Good children eat apples. Okay, but it's up to you how you want to kind of go about remembering those. So a couple of other little things then just before I leave you. If you're unsure which one to be turning and you've not got the app to kind of match up your headstock on Guitar Tuner, then just follow the string along. Okay, follow the string along to the end. Check you're turning the right one. It's very easy to go wrong and kind of be looking at your hand over here, plucking the string, turning over here the wrong one, and all of a sudden, ping, you've tightened it too much and the string flies off. So make sure you're plucking and twisting the right one. Often people ask me, what direction does it turn? Usually these two turn slightly differently to these two. Okay, on this side, if I turn this anti-clockwise, so I'm turning it from here away from me. Okay, my thumb's going over and away. That's going up, okay? Okay, the G I turned a bit there as well. Those have gone up. Let's bring them back down into tune. That's saying A. I'll loosen it down past G sharp to G, and I'm back at G. This is saying D sharp. Sharp, by the way, it will show on your tuner as a little hash symbol. Okay, so if you see the little hash, like in your hashtags or off your telephone, you don't want any of those. Okay, you want it to say just the note, just the letter, and no other funny little symbols on there. So that's telling me D sharp at the moment. So that's too high. I'm loosening this off. That says D. I'm going to keep going down. C sharp, still no good. Keep coming down to C, and there, that's just dropped a little below C, so I'll bring that back up to get that light on the tuner there, round about there. On this side then, if I twist this E string the same direction, that's now going down. Okay, so thumb over the top and away from me, anti-clockwise. That's going down now. Okay, so that's something to watch out for and remember. Let's bring the E back up to pitch. That's saying D now, so I'm going to twist it towards me clockwise. until I get E on the tuner, and that's got my green light back on there and in tune. Okay, so that's not too bad there. As I said, it's not been used for a little while, this one, so the strings might take a little bit of time to get settled back in. If someone's handed you down a ukulele, it might need to settle back in. If you've got a brand new ukulele, you'll have to tweak those strings. So that's not terrible. If your ukulele is really new, to help keep it in tune, something I always recommend is stretching the strings. Okay, so you get it up to pitch, got that to G, and then around the middle of the fretboard there, pinch the string and just tug on it a little there. Okay, so really just a small amount. Okay, just pulling on that a little bit there. That'll get out some of the slack in it. The idea is that we'll pull it a little bit flat, tighten it back up into pitch, so tune it back up. There we go. Okay, and that's back at G. Then you do it again, and the aim of the game is to do that until when you tug on it, it doesn't go out of pitch anymore. Okay? It doesn't go out of tune. That will help those strings settle in much faster, and it will make it so that maybe your first week of ukulele is not solely just tuning the thing, and you can actually get some playing in as well. So you will have to spend a fair bit of time with this. Okay, you're going to have to do it a few times a day. Certainly every time you pick it up to play it, check that tuning. You should do that anyway, really. Always check that tuning. It's no good putting in all the effort to make sure your hand's moving in the right places if when you play it sounds horrible because it's not in tune. So that's about what it should sound like when you're in tune. Okay, something like that is what we're going for. Hopefully that's helpful. Remember then that these you can pick up online, pick them up really cheap. If you don't want to pay a penny, then get one on your smartphone. Tuning is the first and most important lesson to learn really with that ukulele. So get those strings memorized, get used to how they feel and sound when they're in tune. Do that as quick as you can and you'll be off to a flying start with actually playing it and having some fun with it. Okay, so take care and I'll see you soon.